Hello and welcome to Swipe. Coming up, the console wars kick off. We take a look at how the PS4 and Xbox One compare. Plastic payments. Is our electronic spending getting out of hand? What does the Fox say? Ulvis talk to us about their viral smash.
What the Fox say?
And watch out for the zombies. We check out a few of the games debuting on the new next-generation consoles. You know how it is. You wait ages for a new games console to come along and then to arrive at once. Well, the excitement has been building for a while, and now the Xbox One is going head-to-head with the PlayStation 4. Both promise a lot, but do they actually deliver? Well, the only way to know is to play them. So Sky's Katie Spencer assembled her very own gaming A-team to test them both out.
The next generation of gaming promises to be faster, more powerful, technology to excite. With Microsoft's Xbox One going head-to-head with arch-rival Sony's PS4, gamers face a tough choice.
But which next-generation console has the edge? Well, in case you're having trouble figuring out, we brought in our gaming big guns. Say hello, team. They're going to go in now and figure out what the PS4 has to offer.
Inside PlayStation's London headquarters ahead of its UK release, we were lucky enough to get a special preview of their next-gen console.
My name's Ross Thompson. I've been in the games industry for the last 19 years, and I currently work for Game. I think they made huge improvements. The PS3 has gone through about 3 different renditions of how it looks and how it feels from a console point of view. If you look at the controller just as a starting point, it's so much better than the DualShock 3. I've never been a fan of the DualShock 3, and to hold the DualShock 4, it's so much easier and more comfortable to play the games. They've added new features like a touchpad on the top of the controller, so that's going to be interesting as to how they use that.
I'm Lucy James. I'm a writer and presenter for Jinx TV and a lifelong gamer. With the launch lineup for the PlayStation, they had an incredible E3 conference. They showed off a lot of exciting titles, but I suppose just due to development time and cost, a lot of those have been pushed back, and so at the minute they're relying on a lot of smaller indie titles. So it's not the strongest lineup. You might have to wait a little bit, but there are those exciting titles that are coming later on down the line.
I'm Guy Cocker. I'm a video game expert and broadcaster and an expert for BAFTA on the gaming side. I think that what gets me really excited about this particular console is the fact that Sony has worked with independent developers. It seems at launch to have the best version of multi-platform games, because it seems as though that hardware is more powerful than it is in the Xbox One. And that's what, as a hardcore gamer, gets me really excited. I know that the best games that are coming out across a variety of platforms are probably going to be on PlayStation 4.
Xbox now?
Yeah, definitely.
So is it game over already? Well, not quite. A short taxi ride across town, and at a top-secret address, it was time to try out Microsoft's offering.
I really like the Xbox One. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be, actually, but it's a very nice-looking console. The triggers are really cool now. They have the little thing called impulse triggers, so if you're playing like Forza and you accelerate, you can feel each individual trigger vibrate, which is quite cool. It gives you a little bit more feedback, really immerses you into that game-playing experience.
They've got a few new features, and one of them is that there used to be a start and a back button. These have now been removed, and you now have a menu button and a view button. What they're saying they're going to do is quite similar to what the start and the back does, but I think what it's doing is it's opening up the world too, because it's next generation, other features that they maybe haven't actually announced yet.
I think the key piece of technology that differentiates the Xbox One is the Kinect sensor. The technology in there it's set up for the future. It does some really advanced stuff, such as quite scary, kind of like skin palpitations to sense your heartbeat, and also reading your emotions. And I think that as someone who speaks regularly to games developers, I think that game developers can do really interesting things with that, like read your emotion and then maybe adapt the game to how well you're reacting to certain characters.
Regardless of who wins the clash of the consoles, for gamers this marks a significant gear change. It isn't just exciting because of the technology we get to see now. This is exciting as gamers know it's just a taste of what's to come. Katie Spencer, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we meet the brothers behind this annoyingly catchy song. But first, paying for things with plastic is easier than it's ever been. A quick touch on a scanner or a tap on a tablet, and you've made your payment. Compared with handing over huge wads of cash, it all just feels a bit less painful. But are these convenient electronic payments getting out of hand? Sky's Philippa Hall reports.
No tickets, no payment. Here in Birmingham, with just a simple scan of a wristband, your details are pulled up and you're in. In the last year, the UK's seen a surge in contactless payment technology, from buying coffee with our phones through to buying beer at a festival. As it becomes cheaper to make, the benefits spread further and further afield.
Selling beer, for instance, in a massive festival, sort of 80,000 people, speed of service is really important. It's important for the bar operator and it's important for the customer because they don't want to queue for hours and hours.
Experts say we're experiencing a watershed moment as millions of us embrace the convenience. A survey by Visa found contactless transactions shot up by 46% across Europe in the first 3 months of this year.
All your cards all together in a virtual wallet that goes anywhere.
Companies like Weave are banking on us scrapping the cash.
It's definitely what consumers want. Over 70% of the consumers we talk to say they want to be and expect to be actually paying with their phone in the very near future. It's all about convenience. People securely want to pay with their money in the most convenient way.
But there's a warning. Broadcaster Rosie Millard, who racked up £40,000 worth of debt on credit cards, believes the less physical payments become, the easier it is to run into difficulties.
It doesn't feel like money because you see something, you click, it arrives in the post, it's yours, you bung in a few numbers. There is no notion of there being a transaction. There is no notion of money actually flying out of your account. And it is very seductive.
Cutting out the cash may make it easier to go about our day, but some debt charities believe briefly pausing before we buy is important.
The most simple thing that anyone can do to avoid debt is budget. A lot of people don't do it, but really it's as simple as drawing up that really detailed list of what you've got coming in every month and what you've got going out every month.
From burgers to books, from mascara to milk. These days, you can pay for so many small items with just a touch of your bank card.
Another big step will come next year when Transport for London phases out the Oyster card in favour of a simple swipe with a credit or debit card. It'll force millions of commuters to rethink their use of a digital wallet. Philippa Hall, Sky News.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up.
The next CEO is the right person for the right time for the company we both love.
Bill Gates gets emotional. But first. Viral videos are nothing new, but this one is more successful than most. The Fox has racked up hundreds of millions of online views, and it's getting bigger every day. But what's all the attention been like for the men behind the song? Sky's Chloe Culpin's been finding out.
Have you ever wondered what noise a fox makes? Well, two brothers from Norway did, and around 250 million people have watched this video to see if the band Ulvis can answer the question. Released just a few months ago, they've been bowled over by the success of The Fox, although things aren't quite going to plan for the pair.
When we made the song, two things came up. First of all, we were supposed to make it like a tanked hit. We thought it would be funny to have like merchandise for something that didn't quite work out. That was a funny idea in itself. But we also felt that the idea, what does the fox say, was kind of it was a good idea for a children's book.
Ulvis say the children's book developed organically from the theme of the song before they made the video.
We started the process and we called it Illustrator, Norwegian Illustrator, which is really good. Svein Nyhus is called, and he's like big name in Norway, award-winning, and we wanted to make it like, so it wouldn't seem like a spin-off product, because it really wasn't. It was just, we wanted him to make it like an artsy and really well illustrated thing.
The comedy duo already have their own show in Norway. They've appeared on primetime US chat shows and have performed at a music festival in Las Vegas, but say they're still not famous without their costumes on, like at the recent MTV EMA Awards.
We put on the Fox costumes and things just turn around and people come over and say, "Hey, I love your song," So we're nothing more than some costumes, actually.
But despite the costumes, book and video, we've yet to establish what sound does come from the red furry forest creature.
What does the frog say?
Chloe Culpin, Sky News.
What the frog say?
You're watching Swipe, coming up. From first-person shooters to zombie nightmares, we check out some of the new launch titles for the Xbox One and the PS4. But first, here's a roundup of anything you might have missed over the last few days. Censorship around the world could be ending in a decade. That's what Google boss Eric Schmidt predicted in a lecture at Johns Hopkins University. He said the use of encryption will help people overcome surveillance by governments. A clearly emotional Bill Gates has spoken about Microsoft's search for its next CEO. Speaking at the company's annual shareholder meeting, he came close to tears when talking about Steve Ballmer's successor.
We share a commitment that Microsoft will succeed as a company that makes the world a better place. So thank you for your support.
Facebook is suing an alleged spammer. It's launched legal action against a man in the States who allegedly posted fake links to a Justin Bieber sex tape so that he could redirect people to a site which paid him for hits. Ever imagined working in the best office building in the world? Well, that's how the late Steve Jobs once described Apple's futuristic campus plan. Based in California, this circular 2.8 million square foot glass-clad structure has finally got the go-ahead by the local city council. As the company's main hub, it'll boast a fitness centre and an auditorium, but you're going to have to wait until 2016 to see it. No longer just a social media tag, selfie has beaten twerk, binge watch and showrooming to be named Oxford Dictionary's Word of the Year. Editors say its use has increased by 17,000% since 2012. So we've all heard all about the PS4 and the Xbox One, but what are the games actually like? Both consoles come with a range of exclusive titles, so we thought we'd get GameSpot's Cameron Robinson to take a look.
Need for Speed Rivals will be available on both the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One actually, but it's an arcade racing game and it's really aggressive, fast and really fun. Rivalry in the title is all about the kind of cops versus the racers, and you play as both. But where the game gets really interesting is the fact that it's constantly multiplayer. So if you're online playing this game, other human players from around the world are seamlessly integrated into your game. So you might be just cruising around racing, and suddenly there'll be a cop chasing you. But that actually won't be a computer-controlled AI, that'll be another person somewhere else playing the same game. So it does that seamlessly, and that is quite exciting.
I like to think it's paradise where we live. It's amazing what you do to protect that.
Killzone Shadowfall is probably the main launch game for the PlayStation 4, and it really looks next-gen. So it's a first-person shooter, and the Killzone franchise is known for being gorgeous, and as I said, it still is, but it's had a bit of an upgrade in terms of how it feels. It's much quicker. I always used to find the old Killzone games quite sluggish. You felt like you were this big, heavy guy, and everything was an effort. But now it's all slick and smooth and really responsive. Unfortunately, while the game, like the basics are really great, it's not particularly exciting, which is a bit of a shame. Almost a bit of a missed opportunity, perhaps. But it's a solid game, and certainly one, if you're getting a PlayStation 4, it probably should be right at the top of your list, because it is a solid game and there is a lot of fun there. Rise Son of Rome looks every bit a next-gen game. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the first kind of 30 seconds, you're immediately plunged into this barbarian assault on ancient Rome, which sounds awesome. And you're thrust into the body of this centurion, and you immediately start hacking up these barbarians. And for the first 30 minutes, hour of the game, Rise Son of Rome is actually a lot of fun to be had. Unfortunately, it kind of gets old quite fast because there's not really much progression. So it's a bit disappointing because you see this beautiful game, but there's just not really much to hold you there for the remainder of the game. So a bit disappointing for me, really, but certainly very good looking. Dead Rising 3 is, yes, another zombie game, the third in the Dead Rising franchise, but it's different from a lot of zombie games we've seen recently. It's all about having fun. And it maybe doesn't actually look quite as good as you might expect when you boot it up. It can be a bit disappointing until you realise the sheer number of zombies on screen. You can have hundreds there. There really is a horde, and that's kind of a technical achievement, really, to have that many things on screen chasing you. But it's also got this kind of wacky humour all the way through it, and you can combine weapons to create ludicrous weapons. So, I don't know, like a sledgehammer can be combined with a saw, and you get a sledge saw. It's this weird, I guess, juxtaposition between the really dangerous post-apocalyptic world and running around in a shark suit. So it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time with Dead Rising 3.
That's your lot for this week. Remember, you can catch up with the breaking tech stories all week on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone apps, and skynews.com. We'll see you next time.